In these magnificent mountains, we feel the presence of the gods themselves. And this gives us strength and a feeling of power. But these giants of nature also humble us and give us a sense of our true proportion in the cosmic scheme of things. In ancient Greece, according to legend, Atreus dared to challenge ambitiously the power of the gods themselves, to take this power for himself. And the gods, resenting this challenge to their power, placed a curse on his house. Now, one of the first to feel this curse was Orestes, who was the grandson of Atreus, because Orestes' mother murdered his father, her husband, Agamemnon. Now, according to the Greek code of honor, Orestes was obliged to revenge himself upon the murder of his father. But this placed a terrible dilemma upon him, because the greatest sin in Greek culture was matricide, the murder of one's mother. So he agonized over this for the longest time. But eventually he did what he seemingly had to do. He committed the terrible deed. He murdered his mother. The curse continued. So to assuage his guilt, he wandered off into the world, but he was followed by a new curse, because the gods had sent 3 harpies, 3 terrible ghosts, to follow him everywhere. And their cackling criticism and their frightening appearance tormented him day and night. After years of this torment and self-abnegation, Orestes felt that he had atoned for his sin. And so he asked the gods if they would lift this terrible curse from the house of Atreus. So the gods met, and they deliberated, and they asked Orestes to be present. And during the trial, Apollo stood up to defend Orestes. He said, you know, this wasn't his fault. This was my fault, because I, in my anger against Atreus, placed this curse on his house. And it wasn't Orestes' fault, therefore, that his mother murdered his father. Now, something amazing happened after this. Orestes jumped up and he said, no, he said, this was my fault. I did this. I committed this terrible deed. It was my guilt. Now, the gods were truly amazed by this, because never in all of their deliberations, in all of their trials of justice, had any mortal taken responsibility for their deeds. Certainly in the house of Atreus, no one had accepted guilt for their crimes. So, in their gratitude for Orestes' sense of responsibility, they removed the curse from the house of Atreus and went a step further. They took away these 3 harpies, these 3 terrible ghosts that had tormented him, and replaced them, turned them into 3 Eumenides, whose love and wise counsel, their loving spirits, whose wise counsel brought good fortune to Orestes in his wanderings all the days of his life.